everybody. I'm Christy Forsyth with Clarity by Christy. I am a soul therapist and an intuitive that connects with the angelic energy, and I help the helpers, the light bringers, and the soulpreneurs of this world to live their most magical life. So if that's you and you're watching this video on my YouTube channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button with the bell so you can get notifications for all the videos that I'm sharing here on the channel. And if you're watching here on Facebook, make sure you guys say hi, make sure you like and comment below. So we're going to dive into this energy. Today we are officially halfway through this Mercury retrograde. I do feel like as part of that, we are kind of beginning to find some clarity. Hi Lori, hi Mom. We are beginning to find some clarity on things, although things still might seem kind of cloudy. I think there very much is still an energy of feeling a little bit disconnected, a little bit confused, a little bit lost. Hi Wendy. Hi Jen. So we just have all of this energy swirling around, and I keep saying that I feel like this Mercury retrograde is very different in that there is a lot of power in this too. So yes, as usual with a retrograde, we're feeling more tired. We're feeling like we need to take better care of ourselves. We maybe have less energy. We're maybe feeling just like we're needing to get more rest. We might be feeling like we're struggling with a lot of things internally, but I also just feel like there's a lot of magic showing up for us, and I do feel as though there are some opportunities popping up in the mix of all of this stuff going on. So, and that's typically not something we normally see, kind of more of a pause in the energy. So it's interesting because I'm looking at the cards that I'm going to be reading for you guys, and it really is kind of a mix with that as well. So, I think watch for some magic to show up for you in the mix of all of this crazy energy. So, I think right now we have to be really, really mindful about the energy that we are feeding. We have to be really mindful about what we put our energy into. And, it's human nature to, when things aren't going well for us, or when we're upset about something, or when someone has done us wrong in some way, it's kind of human nature to want to talk about that, to want to have a discussion about that, to want to vent about that, process that, all of that stuff, right? And what I want to say is that that's okay, and that's part of our human process. It's part of how we make sense of things and how we find answers, is by talking about things. But I also want to say that you want to make sure that you are not feeding that energy too much. The longer that you talk about it, even if you're talking about it with your best friends, the longer that you focus on it, the longer that you obsess about it, the longer that you think about how angry you are or how upset you are, the longer that you think about how scared you are about things, the longer that you focus on your fears, the more that you're feeding that. And I just feel like in this energy right now, it's setting us up to want to do more of that. And we want to make sure that we're feeding the energy for the things that we want in our life, not for the things that we don't want. And so sometimes I try to redirect myself if I catch myself moving in a direction of talking about, oh, I didn't like this and I didn't like that, and I start to move into all of that, because I want to focus instead on where things are going and where I want things to go and what I want to call into my life. So understand, whatever you are feeding, whatever energy you are feeding, is what you are magnetizing to you. So really thinking about, how are you speaking? How are you thinking? And where can you make some subtle little shifts? It will not hurt you to let some things go. In fact, you probably will feel better if you can redirect your brain a little bit and start to focus on the things that you want to call in. One of the things that I like to do if I catch myself, one of the ways that I can get really emotionally hijacked is I become overpowered with anxiety sometimes, and it really looks like I'm worried about this, I'm fearful about this, and I kind of go into all of the ways that something can go wrong. And what we know about energy is actually what I'm doing there with that is I am feeding that energy. I am creating or putting energy into the direction of manifesting the very things that I'm worrying about. So it's not helpful at all. And so what I try to do with that instead is, when I catch myself doing that, is to sit down and do some manifestation writing, where I basically write a letter of gratitude for the things that I'm trying to call into my life. And it's a letter of gratitude as though they already have arrived into my life, because this is where you're going to be most effective in terms of manifestation. So I might think about the thing that I'm worrying about, and instead think about the way that I want things to go down, the intentions that I have. So I would do a letter of gratitude to God, to the universe, whatever, and I'm so grateful that this situation went so well, and it was this, and it was this, and I go into detail about how I want to have that be manifested. For me, that's a really helpful tool for redirecting that energy, for focusing that in the right direction, so that I am calling in the things that I want to call into my life, rather than feeding the things that I don't. So pay attention to what you're feeding right now. And it's really easy to fall into that trap when we're in our heads in this energy, when, in retrograde, like, shit just goes wrong. That, we are having things be reflected to us that we need to pay attention to right now. But sometimes that's wildly uncomfortable. And so what we want to do is talk about how uncomfortable we are. So can we instead find the gift in what is being reflected to you, because it means it's something that you need to pay attention to, that you need to address, that you need to do something about, that you need to make some adjustments to, or that you need to understand. So can we accept it for the gift that it is? I know, I get it. It's hard sometimes. It can be a real challenge in this energy, but those are your messages for the energy. And now we're going to dive into the tarot cards and what the tarot cards have to say for how we can best navigate this energy. So the first card that we have is an interesting card for the retrograde, but we have the 8 of Fire, and this is about rapid movement, things moving forward. So I do feel like, some of the things, remember, I've been talking about for quite some time before we stepped into this retrograde about, like, create a momentum, get things going, get things moving, all of that stuff. And I feel like this is about that stuff. The things that you already have created some momentum on, the things that you've been putting good energy into, the things that you've been feeding, I really think are gonna happen. The card itself says events moving at a fast pace, delays are over, many things happening at once. So you may also find yourself feeling overwhelmed, feeling busy. I know here, with everything we've had going on with this energy, I am so busy. So by the way, please bear with me if it takes me a while to get back to your messages or to get you scheduled, because it is crazy right now. So I'm trying to just keep up with it all. But yeah, a lot happening at once. So we might find ourselves also feeling like we're trying to juggle a lot, we're trying to do a lot, and not really feeling like we're keeping up. So the next cards that we have, I actually pulled these cards together. We have the Page of Water reversed, and we have the 10 of Water reversed. Okay, so this is really suggesting to me that, we're going to have some challenges with relationships right now. Now, by the way, not the time to start a new relationship, okay? So that is your warning. But also, you want to make sure that you are addressing things within your relationships, if they are important to you, carefully. This is a good time to really try harder to effectively communicate, to communicate with love, to speak your truth, but to speak your truth in a kind way. This is a really good time to focus on active listening and really trying to understand each other, because communication can be really breaking down right now. And so the more that we can just lead into our interactions with, whether it's romantic relationships or other relationships, with kindness, that is really going to assist in navigating this energy that we have going on. And then we have the Knight of Earth reversed, okay? So this is we really need to make sure that we are still honoring the promises, honoring the commitments that we've made to ourselves, or the commitments that we have made to others. So sometimes when we get into this energy, it's a little bit like, but I don't feel like it, I don't want to, but if you have made a commitment to something it's important right now to honor that, especially if that is a commitment that you have made to yourself, okay? Have you set a goal for yourself? Have you said, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and this is my promise that I make to myself? Make sure that you're honoring that commitment. That's going to be really important for you. That is, again, helping to create results, even though we are in this retrograde energy. So, because like I said, we can have some really cool things arriving into our experience. So making sure that you're honoring your commitments unless that feels really wrong, because we also want to make sure that we are balancing that out with extra self-care during this time, extra rest during this time. And here we have the Seven of Earth upright. Okay, so this is talking about the seeds that you have planted are well planted. So understand that even if things feel stuck, even if things don't feel like they're moving forward in the way that you want them to be moving forward, understand that your seeds have been well planted, and this is really a temporary pause. You know, it's kind of like when you put the seeds in the ground and you don't see anything sprouting up right away, right? It's that period where they have to kind of germinate in the dirt. You know, so maybe we're in our dirt germination phase. Is that even what you call it? I don't know. I think so. But we are growing our seeds and allowing these to sprout, and some of these seeds are going to sprout. So this is about not worrying. This is about not feeding the worry and stepping out of that. And then we have the Nine of Water reversed. And the Nine of Water reversed is like us not feeling like really fantastic right now about the way that things are moving in our lives. Maybe we're feeling like, I don't have this that I want, and I don't have that I want. And, you know, if you allow this energy to take over, you're going to step into this victim mentality. You're going to step into this way of thinking where you're really focused on the negative. And again, I want you to pay attention to what energy you are feeding. Focus on what you do have. Focus on what is going well. Focus on how much progress you've made. I feel like right now part of the energy is like we're not recognizing how far we've come. Take a look. Take a step back. Take a look at how far you have come and how much you've progressed in the past few years in all areas of your life, and give yourself credit for the progress that you have made. You're with you every day, so sometimes it's hard to recognize the progress that you're making. But sometimes if you take a step back and you really look back on it, you will see exactly how much things have grown. And then the last card that we have here with the angel cards is the Seven of Air, okay? This is about a repeating cycle in our lives, okay? We have here these unicorns that are on a merry-go-round, and I always say, like, these little unicorns in the back are deciding to get off the merry-go-round. They're deciding that they are no longer going to continue to do things in the way that they have been doing them. And this doesn't have to be across the board in your life, but maybe you recognize that there's a pattern for you that is not helpful. And what do you need to do to change that? What changes do you need to make to your life? What changes do you need to make to your approach to yourself? Anything that is going to allow you to get off of this cycle that just is not serving you. Retrograde has a really solid way of showing you the stuff in your life that just isn't working for you anymore. So honoring that and making changes accordingly. And then I did pull a couple of theme cards for us. So I have the Poet card reversed. Poet card reversed is about being mindful of your words, being mindful of the way that you're speaking, the way that you're communicating, you know, speak with kindness or try not to say anything at all, because we are so at risk in this energy of just spouting off some really nasty stuff. And it's usually stuff that we regret later. You know, who wants to like spread nastiness and say awful things? I don't know anybody that feels good about that afterwards. So pay attention and really take your time and think about how you want things to be said, and choose kindness, choose love, honor the person that you are trying to interact with. And we also have this rescuer energy, okay? So the rescue I'm going to read for you, it says, provide strength and support to others in crisis. Acts out of love with no expectation of reward. Okay, so this is about, again, asking, how can I be of service? How can I help other people? How can I be here for other people? Balance it out with taking care of you as well. But you know, what are other people in my world needing? And do you know people who are really struggling right now with this energy, or people who are in need in some way? And how can you help? How can you step up? How can you fulfill your purpose through helping other people, and also making sure that you are helping yourself in the process and giving yourself what you need, because sometimes we're so good at attending to other people's needs but not paying attention to our own. So those are your messages for this week. I'm Christy Forsyth with Clarity by Christy. If you want to learn more about me or about Clarity, you can check me out at discoveryawakening.com. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for saying hi, and I will see you soon with another video. Take care.